peddlers and visitors alike, for it often held them suspended in mid-air, stole their hats, or chased them away with terrifying noises. Inside, the house obeyed a law of its own. The wood floors echoed no sound of footsteps, and people simply appeared in doorways without warning. The spiral staircase shortened and lengthened at random, and it could take toddling Meridia 2 seconds to 2 hours to go from one floor to the other. Mirrors were especially treacherous. In them Meridia could glimpse unfamiliar landscapes and all shapes of apparitions. Despite the large open windows, dusk never quite left the rooms. The sun could be blazing, yet inside, the brightest objects looked dim and unappealing. It was always cold in the house. Even at the height of summer with the fire going, Meridia was unable to keep warm. In the mornings, the nurse dressed her in heavy winter clothes as though a storm was brewing. At bedtime, the good woman wrapped her in 2 or 3 blankets, and still her bones chattered. The cold emanated from one room, where at all hours a frosty wind fluttered curtains and rattled lamps. Meridia did not know how Ravenna could sleep in that room. Her father Gabriel certainly never did. Meridia was 4 when she noticed that no words had ever passed between her parents. 5 when she realized that the 3 of them were never in the same room at the same time. Gabriel spent his days in the study at the front of the house. Exactly what it was he studied, no one could say. In hushed tones, the nurse and the maids referred to him as a man of science, a celebrated scholar, an astute investor who had doubled his inheritance and was now living for the sake of knowledge. They were all terrified of him. No sooner did they sight his shadow than they trembled like leaves. Gabriel seldom spoke to them. A gesture or a look was all he needed to convey his command, which everyone but Ravenna followed like a mandate from heaven. Meridia regarded her father with both fear and respect. A tall and elegant man, Gabriel was direct in manner, limited in patience, scrupulous in appearance. He had a firm chin and a grim mouth, and his dark eyes were severe and without warmth. He walked with a slight stoop, which gave him the appearance of a swooping raptor. Not once had Meridia heard him laugh. That he resented her, for reasons that would not become clear until years later, was the first thing she noticed about him. If he were ever to take her in his arms or speak a kind word to her, she would not have the slightest idea what to do. One day, despite the nurse's warnings, Meridia stole into the study when no one was looking. She had simply meant to peek around the door, but when she saw that Gabriel was out, she braved herself to enter. Though she had no previous recollection of being there, the room looked welcoming and familiar. She grinned at the towers of books that made up the walls, at the hanging maps and graphs full of numbers. Cabinet after cabinet was jammed with flasks, beakers, burners. Meridia skipped toward the massive desk by the window. Jars of growing seeds populated the surface, and they were all winking at her. She was ready to touch them when a shadow fell across the desk.
"Who gave you permission to enter?"
Meridia turned and shrank. Her grin instantly melted from her face.
"Speak up. Don't just stand there drooling like an ape."
I... Gabriel had not raised his voice, yet Meridia felt the whole world was screaming at her. Confronted with his immaculate suit and shiny Oxford shoes, she felt dirty, small, purposeless. As she beseeched the maps and books for a way out, every object in the room darkened like an artifact of hate. Meridia dropped her eyes and did not dare lift them.
"You are 5 years old and quite capable of forming a sentence. Do you mean to stand there and insult me with your silence?"
"Papa, She was saved from further agony by her nurse, who ran into the study trembling with fright. "It's my fault, master. I didn't think—" Gabriel did not deign to look at her.
"It is immaterial what you think or don't think. If ever I find her in here again—"
Quick for her considerable bulk, the nurse yanked Meridia out of the study. Once upstairs, she berated her charge soundly, but soon took pity and enfolded the child in her